God being I am changes who I am. And changes what I do. So, like I said, we're going to be in John chapter 6. So, you guys can flip there if you want to. Just as we get started, anybody ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be bad for me. One of my favorite things to eat in the whole wide world, and every time I pass by this store and the light is on, I have to stop and get 6 blazing hot Krispy Kreme donuts. And I love them because you can stick 6 up in your mouth at a time. They're gooey. Yeah, I love Krispy Kreme donuts. Something I like, really, I won't really say that I like it more, but something else that I like, sometimes it's better than Krispy Kreme donuts, is free food. All right? By the way, there's some free cherry cobbler stuff back there. It's pretty good. I had 2 plates of it.
I heard it was terrible.
Well, I didn't make it, so that's fine. Miss Sylvia Stubbs, I'm going to tell her you said that. So
I didn't try.
She probably won't make anything. Yeah, so free food. That's one thing, like Sam's Club or Costco or places like that. Whenever you get to go in there, I love it. Have they call some bakers. Have they call some bakers. But like in the back of the store, like in the food section, they have these ladies that have these little booths set up. Kind of like Walmart has it sometimes, but they only have one. But Sam's has all these little booths set up, and they hand out free samples. Oh man, you can go through, and you can go through one time and get a sample of everything. You can go back through and get another one. Well, it's free. It's not stealing. They're giving it to you, but it's free food. I love free food. Something else that I love. All right, something else that I love. Yes. You have to have a Sam's Club card. Yeah, I have a Sam's Club card. So, yeah, but if you do it once a week or however often, then it pays for itself. Something else that I love, if you're ever in a mall and they have a food court and they have the little Chinese place, they always seem to have a lady standing out there with a tray of food and a toothpick. Sample? Yeah. So every time I'm like, well, heck yeah, sample. I love it. I love free food.
I can tell.
Yeah, there's been different times. Hey, this is something. If you ever Baskin Robbins, I don't know if there's still one around here. There was one in Greenville. But if you ever come across a Baskin Robbins, go in there and be like, man, I don't know what I want. Can I just sample a few of them? And they'll pull out this little pink spoon, and it's free ice cream. And you're like, I changed my mind. I don't want it. You can leave the store. Free ice cream. No big deal. That's just for free. But yeah, different places they do free stuff, and it's kind of my life motto is if it's free, it's for me. And so yeah, the right price would be like free 50. Free 99. I don't know. So, but here's the thing. I love free food. I love free stuff. And most of us would say we do. But the same thing in the story that we're going to look at tonight, the same thing is happening. Okay. So in John chapter 6, and I'm not going to read all of this, but I'm going to kind of pick and choose some of the verses I read. But let me set the background for you. John chapter 6, verse 1 through 15. Jesus feeds about 5,000 people using, y'all probably heard the story, but 5 loaves and 2 fish. 5 barley loaves, 5 loaves of bread, and 2 fish. And he feeds 5,000 people.
And
crazy.
They were full.
And they were full, and there was leftover.
Free food.
So, yeah, it was free, right? Not only that, but Jesus had walked on water. So the next day, this group that he's just fed followed Jesus across the sea and into a place called Capernaum. That's verses 22 through 24. Okay, so right now we've covered, in that short span of time, we've covered verse 1 through 24. And so Jesus and the disciples got to the other side safely of the Sea of Galilee. And in chapter 6, verse 24, it's on the wrong page, says, once the crowd realized that neither Jesus nor his disciples were there, they got into the boats and went to Capernaum in search of Jesus. They were looking for Jesus. And that's a big deal. Some of them were coming because they heard that he just fed 5,000 people, and they were like, hey, I want my free pie too, my free bread or whatever. Some of them might have been coming because they had gotten the free food, and they were like, well, I'm hungry again. It's another day. I want to eat again. So we'll just call them the free lunch bunch. But they were following Jesus because of what they could get from him. They were looking for Jesus because he had given them something and they wanted more. Verse 26 and 27 says this. Jesus answered, and he said, I tell you the truth, you are looking for me not because you saw miraculous signs, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. verse 27, do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. On him, God the Father has placed his seal of approval. And so what we see is that Christ reveals in this passage that he is more necessary than food. I don't know about you guys. You ever gone out eating? You ever missed a meal? Been really busy, or maybe like baseball tournament all day, or something like that.
It's like 2 meals a day for
And you get breakfast and you're like, yeah, I'm good. And you're busy doing something. You're working. You're out like on the boat, or you're at the lake, or you're doing something, and then you forget about lunch and you miss lunch. Are you going to miss dinner?
You don't want to.
Probably not. I mean, you're probably not. You're probably going to know, like at that point, like, dang, I'm starving.
You got 6 o'clock game.
And
8 o'clock you do.
it's important though. It's important because food is essential to life. We have to eat, or we will die. It's just like laws of nature. If you don't eat, it won't be immediate, but you will starve to death.
It'll be terrible.
But Jesus is saying, he's saying in this passage, I'm more important than food. And that's a big deal. Just as the Father gave us, just as God gave us bread to meet our physical needs, basic needs that we have, but also the people of this day have this basic need for food. Now we see that he sent Jesus, his Son, the bread of life, to care for the ultimate needs of the world. Jesus wanted to satisfy their souls, where they were just looking to satisfy their bellies. Matthew 5:6 says this. This is from the Sermon on the Mount. But it says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Think about that. Hunger and thirst for righteousness. You guys ever been hungry?
Yes.
What if you were so hungry you couldn't eat? What if you were so hungry but you were unable to eat? You'd be starving.
I did that today after that PSAT test.
Think about this. Think about this. I'm gonna throw this. This is just an example. But Thanksgiving. Anybody like Thanksgiving? I love Thanksgiving.
Football.
Thanksgiving's great because there's football on, there's family around, there's plenty of food, and there's turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce and sweet potato casserole and dressing stuff and same thing. And then there's pecan pie, and sometimes there's chocolate pie or apple pie. Oh, it's awesome. I love Thanksgiving. Now, think about, it's Thanksgiving Day. You have woken up, and you have an abscess in your throat, like a sore spot in your, or a rotting spot in your throat, and you can't eat. Think about that. But you get to sit around and watch the rest of your family chow down on turkey and dressing, and then if that's not bad enough, they get the pecan pie with the butter melted on. Let me just throw this out there. If you ever get a chance and you go to Waffle House and you order you a piece of pecan pie with butter melted on top, and you'll thank me later. It's awesome. But like, just think about it. You're hungry, you're starving, and you can't eat, but you get to sit around and watch everyone else stuffing their faces with food. Think about that. How does that feel? Bad, terrible, right? Because you're like, oh, I just want that piece of turkey. I want that ham. Oh, I love ham. Yeah, and then I want that pecan pie. I'm getting hungry now just thinking about it.
I haven't eaten yet.
But here's the thing. The same thing is true of our life. Think of it. Follow me here. If your appetite is for the world, you will starve. Once God changes you, your appetite changes for Him, and you will be filled. Y'all following me there? Because see, what happens is the world promises, they offer us all this stuff, and they say, look, this is going to make you happy. Look, if you have this girlfriend or this boyfriend, that's going to make you happy. If you have this level of popularity, that's going to make you happy. Hey, if you wear the right clothes, that's going to make you happy. And the world promises us all this stuff. Hey, if you go to these parties and you have a good time and you do what everybody else is doing, that's going to make you happy. And if I can be honest with y'all, it might make you happy for a while. But take a step back and just look around. And what you'll see, there's an old phrase that says, misery loves company. And what you'll see is that the world promises that you're going to be happy, but if you really took a step back and look, you're not really being fulfilled. You're not being satisfied. Yeah, maybe you're happy for one day. Maybe you're happy, for a while. But eventually the world's going to leave you empty. But when we give our lives to Jesus, when we let Him have our lives and we let Him change us, then we're not just happy, but we're filled with joy. And so no matter what our circumstances in life are, we can still say, I rejoice because I have Christ. Jesus continues, all right, verse 28.